Welcome, everyone. Before we know it, the time slips by and we're getting older. In fact, from right now until the year 2030, about 10,000 baby boomers are become seniors every day. What does getting older really mean? How do we age gracefully and live our life to the fullest? And beyond that, is being old a matter of our mindset? Welcome to the Difference Makers. I'm Lynn Sanders, your host, and I'm excited to introduce you to two guests who can answer these questions and a lot more. They are Mark Allen and Servet Hassan. Mark is an award-winning talk show host of Late Night Health and producer, and he's produced over 30,000 interviews spanning 10 years. Servet Hassan is an award-winning author of the book Life in Transition, An Intuitive Path to New Beginnings, as well as The Intuitive Heart of Romance and Tune Him In, Turn Him On. She's also a student of the Mystic Masters and a renowned motivational speaker. So without further ado, welcome Mark and Servet.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
I'm glad. So let me ask you both, starting with first Mark, how did you come up with this provocative title of your new best-selling book, Growing Old Sucks, but It Doesn't Have to, Aging with Attitude? I love that title.
Thank you. I had the idea over 10 years ago, and when I met Servet about 3 years ago, she kicked me in my tush and sit down and write. I mean, that's absolutely the truth. The idea came to me because everybody was saying it. And there were people around me that kept complaining. They kept talking about growing old. They kept talking about how growing old was really terrible. And I kept thinking to myself, I don't feel that. And when I met Servet, she felt the same way. So people are complaining. I mean, you know, people 50 plus get together and they say, well, how many times did you go to the doctor this week? You know, I haven't been to the doctor in months. I do have to make an appointment. However, I don't feel physically any different than I did when I was in my 30s. And I do need to make one correction, Lynn.
Sure, that's fine.
As you know, I'm a sarcastic SOB. So the 30,000 interviews that I've done span several decades more.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought I had my notes here 10 years, but that's fine. That's still impressive.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I've done interviews in the financial area to government, politics, lots of health, over 40 years worth of health and alternative health. And what rings my bell is talking to people and learning about what makes them tick. That's what I'm here for. That's my purpose, to share information about others.
Love it. So Servet, how did you get interested in this topic and in collaborating with Mark?
Well, you know, I'm getting older. I'm 62 and I am a cancer survivor and I don't feel my age. And I really think it really comes down to attitude. And there's a great quote. Here's the book.
Yes, let's
holding it up. There's a great quote in the very beginning by David Bowie. He said, aging is an extraordinary process where you become the person you always should have been. And I think that's what happens when you get up there. You lose all of those things that we think are so important when we're younger and realize life is about living and it's about an attitude. So I really wanted to talk about that and get people to, and you don't have to go skydiving or, you know, do anything necessarily extraordinary, but you can just be who yourself and come into your own. I think that's what happens. I think especially women, I hear more women who say they are more confident in their 60s than they've been in their entire life, you know?
Yeah, I love the fact that you have quotes in each chapter and get people thinking. And that leads me, and I'd like you to start with this answer first, Servet. leads me to the next question, which I love, is the subheading you have, aging with attitude. So could
Correct.
you define, what does that mean?
Well, like I just said, it's coming into your own. I mean, I used to end my radio show every week with "Be you to the full," because that's what's really beautiful. I don't care if you're 2 or 10 or 20 or 85. It's about being your authentic self. And when you do that, when you come into your own, you make magic happen. And life is actually worth living when you just take on an attitude of, I am who I am. And I'm going to live my life to the fullest and enjoy every day, because as I know, as a cancer survivor, it can go very fast.
Right. So you're more aware of time ticking by as you get older. That's what you're saying. Mark, do you think that Servette's nudging, is that what propelled you to get this book finally done?
Absolutely. And as I said, the idea hit me 10 or 12 years ago. And it's the fact is that people sit around complaining, and I don't get that. I complain. There's no question. However, I don't complain. I don't think about physical things, or I complain about other things. The fact is that nobody cares about your trouble. Nobody cares that your back hurts, your thumb hurts, your toe hurts, your knee hurts, your head hurts. Nobody cares. So why tell them? And if you really live life to its fullest, if you age with attitude, you're going to find that your life is so much easier, it's so much better. And I think that's really the goal of the book, is to say, hey, just because you're 60 or 50 or 90 doesn't mean you have to sit on the couch. In the book, we have an interview with an auto broker, and his name is Marvin. And Marvin works 40 plus hours a week. He's 93 years old. And we asked him, why do you do this? Do you have to? And he goes, no, I don't have to. I want to. He likes meeting people. He likes helping people. He likes working with people. And so he does that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
And by the way, that's one of the things that keeps you young, is to be out there and learning and growing. And one of the things we talked about in the book is that just keeping your mental agility going. And you do that by learning new things and switching things up. Mark, you mentioned how you and your wife, both of you, brush your teeth with your other hand. If you're right-handed, use your left hand, because that keeps your mind from, if you drive to work, drive a different way, try new things, new recipes, learn a language, that's what keeps you from slipping mentally.
One of the things that we've done to help promote the book and to encourage people to try different things is we do a live weekly cooking segment where I cook in my kitchen. Everything from gambas pinpin, which is spicy shrimp, Spanish style. We did stuffed mushrooms, and we have some other things in online to do. But it's because a lot of seniors, especially if they're just a couple, they don't cook anymore. And food is such an important part of our lives. Food is an art. Food is science. Food is compassion.
Food is love, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, in almost every society, somebody is born, what do? You eat. Somebody dies, what do? You eat. And so we're doing different things, showing what we think are unusual recipes, but are simple and easy to do. And in doing that, we're trying to get people off the couch, into the kitchen, moving around, doing something different, because that's what keeps us all alive.
Right, right. You cover, what I love about this book is you cover all different segments of life, of concerns people might have around the topic of aging. So I want to talk about a couple of those topics. First, with memory loss. Is that considered a natural part of aging? What do you feel about that? Because you just talked about doing different things.
Yeah, no, I'm teasing. Um, no, according to the experts that I've talked to, memory loss is not necessarily a natural part of aging. I mean, maybe to a certain point, but there are things that you can do: diet, supplementation, exercise, that will help you keep your mind healthy and young. And these are really important things to do. The latest studies indicate that Alzheimer's and other mind blowing
Mhm.
diseases start 25 years before. And so you really need to take action now. And if you smoked, stop. If you haven't exercised, you've got to do that.
And that
And
was
Right.
help keep you sharp.
excellent. I was just going to lead to that. And Servet, if you have anything more to add to what Mark
Well,
said.
yeah, age is just a number. I mean, it's just as young as you feel. So the more you can do, the better. And the key is to keep moving and keep doing and just being out there and trying new things and doing new things. And like I said, they don't have to be extraordinary things where you're, learning to fly a plane or whatever. They could just be simple things like taking a 2 mile walk or a 1 mile walk after dinner, things like that you weren't doing before. It is an attitude. It's how you age gracefully by being more of doing the things that make you feel good, you know?
Sure, it makes sense. Talking
Mhm.
about exercise, you mentioned that in your book as well. How much exercise do you feel people need over age 50?
We're not doctors,
Right.
um, either one of us, but studies indicate at least 20 minutes 3 times a week at a minimum. And I think that, and it can be walking, it can just be going up and down your stairs. It doesn't have to be strenuous.
Right.
I'm working out. I have some weights over there, and I should have heavier weights, but they were laying around the house not moving. So I've moved them from one room to the other, and they've stayed there ever since. And that was my exercise for the week. Don't do what I do what I say.
Right. I think for osteoporosis in women, particularly, it's still 10,000 steps a day is what they recommend to
And
keep that at bay. And that's not so hard to do if you do it, walk in the morning, walk in the evening. You can get 10,000 steps in without trying too hard.
And I should point out that they didn't think men had or got osteoporosis, but
Hmm.
the current research indicates that men can get it, and those numbers are increasing. So those 10,000 steps a day are
Wow.
important.
That's interesting. How about sleep? How does sleep change as we age? You mentioned that also in your book. Mark, do you want to start?
I wish I were a better sleeper. Um, say that
How important is that?
sleep is vital. Um, my father used to say something like, "I'll sleep when I'm dead."
Mhm.
I've said that too. I probably get about 6 hours a night, and according to sleep researchers and doctors, I think you need 7 to 8 hours, and even that 1 hour that I'm missing, or 2 hours that I'm missing, is vital. And I mean, you can take a nap in the afternoon. I do that very rarely, maybe for 20 minutes or a half hour. And that seems to help. But overnight sleep, getting into that REM sleep, that deep healing sleep, is difficult for a lot of people. And as we get older, we start, you have other worries.
Yeah, yeah. Servet,
Mhm.
what would you like to say about that?
I sleep well. And I think your body has a rhythm and you should listen to it. I think it knows what you need and you shouldn't fight it. So I sleep 7.5 hours pretty much every night. So straight through. And that's just the right amount for me. It works for me. So I think, sleeping 4 or 5 hours is not going to be good for you. I think it's just detrimental to your health. But I think, and like Mark said, if you can nap, great. I can't personally nap. I just can't do it. I just won't. I lay down on the couch and then like nothing. So I never tried anymore, but I just really try to get 7.5 hours of sleep every night. And then I feel good. I feel like myself, and I think everyone's got a rhythm, a cycle, and follow that, because if it works for you, great,
Berlin,
What?
you sleep? Are you a sleeper?
Yeah, I sleep. Well, I stay up late, but I can get by with 6 hours. But you're right. If I have less sleep, I notice it, and it actually affects my memory.
Right.
I'm not thinking clearly, and I do get tired, and I have dozed off early evening. So I personally think I need at least 6 hours. And what you're saying, Servette, is what feels right for us. But we still
Right,
have
exactly. And also, if you don't sleep the right amount for you, you will put on weight. It will affect your memory. It does things that you may not even be aware of, because most people who don't sleep enough will eat more to compensate for that.
I wanted to talk about something that most people don't talk about, that you delve into in your book, that I thought was really fascinating, and that is having sex as seniors. Not necessarily the two of you together, because you're each having your own household, but just the topic of, just really straightforward. This isn't a one book. This is just a book to educate people. So I'd like you both to talk about, what do you think is important for people to realize? Because you had a lot of good information there about sex. Go ahead.
It was a nice segue, because we went from exercise to sex, which is really good, because actually sex is really good exercise. And my feeling personally is, if you can do it, do it. And if you drop dead doing it, do it anyway. It's like, intimacy is just good for everybody and anybody. I think we're, especially right now with COVID, we're missing intimacy and touch and hugs and things. So if you have a partner, or if you don't have a partner, I think it's important to not let that part of your life slide away,
From a male,
That's a very good point. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead. I have some things to add to it. Go ahead, Mark.
standpoint, we think about sex a lot. We don't always, after a certain age, we can't always do it, but we still think about it. And if you can think about it, you can find a way to do it. It may not be 12 times a day like you could when you're 20 or young like Lynn.
I could never do that.
12 times, but you can still. There are ways. It's a great stress reducer. It's good for cardiovascular. I agree, what a way to go, but you don't want to go that way with a loved one.
No.
It's just, it's an important part of life. And to me, sex and food go together. Eating an artichoke with a loved one, sitting on a bed, dipping those leaves into a nice
Don't look at me. Yeah.
I'm curious, because I've heard, I believe this is true, that stress affects us in many ways, including not being interested in sex or intimacy. So, what?
Absolutely.
So how do you recommend dealing with something like that?
Stress in general is just not good for anything. So, it's just, I meditate every day. If I don't meditate, I'm a wreck by noon. I'm usually bumping into the walls. So I really think that we should still cultivate some kind of silence, time alone, where there's not one religion or one human potential method on the planet that doesn't recommend some form of silence. And I think that it's important to take the time every day to just sit. I don't care if you want to pray or if it's a religious thing or it's not a religious thing, it doesn't matter. It's just that you take a few minutes, a little bit of time every day to just be with your own self and your own thoughts. 5 minutes of meditation a day can change your life. I guarantee it.
Wow. Mark, anything you want to add to that? Because I'm thinking, so what you're saying is you get in a calmer state and then you can enhance your whole life, including your physical relationships and your mental, everything.
Right. No, absolutely. I think that's a very good point that Servette says. I think that meditation is good. I try to do it. I'm not really good at it, but I keep going back and working at it. My wife does a meditation every day, and it seems to calm her and reduce her stress. And I think that's an important thing for all of us, to reduce stress. And meditation is one. Exercise is another. Doing something new. Setting up today's program for you, Lynn, okay?
Yeah, this was my first time doing a live Facebook interview and Zoom, integrating the two. And I was willing, as you say in your book, do new things, to go forward and take a risk, because technical things is not my strength typically. But I figured, you've got to try it sometime, right? So it's okay, hopefully. I wanted to also touch on the importance of, Mark, you're involved with health a lot, and as you are, Servette, with your clients. Let's talk a little bit about preventive care to stay healthy. Did you start out in the beginning talking about people being concerned about their aches and pains? We don't want to get to that aches and pains state if we can help it. So what are some preventative care tips you'd like to give? Mark?
Again, we're not doctors, but from my standpoint, like most guys, we ignore our pain. We don't talk about it. Everybody has a backache or a foot pain or a knee pain at one point or another. You take some Advil and you move on. That's what I do. I think that even though growing old, there are some physical things that we can't do anymore. We can't run as fast as we could as when we were in our 20s. We can't play tennis as strongly, generally speaking. But that doesn't mean everybody is that way. It means if you have pain, get it checked out, make sure it's not serious, and then move on. People from 30 on has some form of arthritis, is what I've been told. 30. That's
right.
Exercising or taking care of themselves.
Right. It's like you said, Lynn, we want to get to it before the pain starts, and you do that by taking care of yourself, exercising and all the things that a doctor would tell you to do, and eat well, eat GMO, eat stuff preservative free. Don't eat processed crap. It does awful things to your body and your skin and everything else about you. But if you keep up with that from an early age on, I think you will have less aches and pains as you get older, because you're just moving more and taking care of yourself better. And the key to that, I think, is have fun. Because if you're going to do an exercise you don't like doing, you won't do it. So pick something you like and then stick with it. And you can change it up as you get older, but at least you're still moving. And I think if you do that, the aches and pains will subside. They won't be as great. But the other thing too is, if you do get something, go get it checked. Don't mess with it, because the longer you wait, the harder it is to fix.
You both are so easy to talk to. It's just like reading your book. It was to me, like a can't put down book, because it was so conversational and fun. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to ask you, because you cover such a wide variety of topics in a very interesting way, what would be some parting words of wisdom that you could give our viewers to help them realize that growing old doesn't have to suck, even though I don't usually use that word. It can be fun. It can be great. We can make the most of our life. I'll start with you, Mark. What would be something you'd like people to remember?
I would like them to remember that if they were to go to Amazon.com and type in "Growing Old Sucks," our book will come up. It's right behind me, and I have a very large copy, and you can get a copy for 99 cents. And the book is really a roadmap for the rest of your life. That's how I've always thought of it. You can also go to growingoldsucks.com. There's a video on there. We're going to be posting recipes in the next week. Lots of information there. You can find out how to contact me or Servette. Servette does some spiritual counseling, and if you're interested in that, you can talk to her about that. I host Late Night Health Radio, and there's so many different things. We produce videos. There's just a variety of things, and you can contact us. And I'm not being a smartass in saying this, what to do. This is what to do. It's 99 cents. And I think you'll enjoy the book. It's fun.
Yeah. Well, I was going to give out your website, just so you know, but I would like you just to add one thought in addition to growingoldsucks.com. What would you like people to remember? Then I'm going to go to you, Servette.
I think that you should remember that life is a journey, and your life is what you make of it. And this is the best part of your life. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Servette.
Right. I agree with Mark. Thank you. But it's also, I think I would tell people, or the message I was trying to convey to is not only just be your authentic self, be you to the full, because this is the last, act, so to speak, of your life. Don't leave anything out. I would say, live your life the way you want to live. It's your life to live as you choose. So don't live your life for your spouse or your necessarily. You have to compromise, but don't live your life for your children, your grandchildren, your neighbor, your friends, doing things that they keep telling you should be doing, or acting the way they say to act, or living the way that they say you should. It's your life to live as you choose. Live it to the fullest.
Oh, I love that. Both of you have such great words of wisdom. Live it to the fullest. And it's a
Absolutely.
journey. Thank you.
Goes fast.
So remember, this is, as Mark said, remember the website, growingoldsucks.com. You're going to get lots of great information there. You've got to get this book. It's only 99 cents, less than a cup of coffee, right? So I highly recommend it myself. I love the book, and you can't go wrong. You have to check it out. Thank you both, Mark and Servette. It was great speaking with you today.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And please share this video with others that can learn a lot from it. All right. Take care and keep on making a positive difference. Remember, your stories matter and you matter too. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.